Well, hello there, friend, and welcome back to the podcast. As always, this is your host, Braden. And today I'm super excited to share with you some clips from some of my students, many of my students who have been here on the podcast to chat about my signature program, Unfuck Your Biz. So when we think about Unfuck Your Biz, we have to think about where do you even begin when you're trying to do all of the things at once, like keep up with loan payments, putting money into savings, paying off back taxes, and hopefully, fingers crossed, saving for retirement at the same time. This podcast is a judgment-free zone because I know that many people like you and also myself have struggled with back taxes, loan payments, savings, or all of the above on top of various legal struggles we have in our business. That's why I created the Unfuck Your Biz program to help business owners like yourself get off the oh shit cycle of back taxes, get their LLCs formed, their S corps together, their contracts in order, all of their legal and tax shit legit. In the program, we cover everything from getting your cash flow in order to how to calculate and pay your quarterly taxes to determining how and why and when you would form an LLC and S corp with step-by-step instructions on how to do that. The program helps students determine how they can get off the what I call the WTF happen to your money hamster wheel, and that puts them on track for what we call in the program the unfucking. I often hear business owners who are considering the program share a few of the same common concerns over and over again. They'll say things like, I'd rather hire someone to do it for me, or I don't have time, or it's too expensive, or I'm too new in business, or I'm too experienced in business. Lots and lots of things. And I can tell you about the importance of knowing how your business works. I can tell you why it's really important to do this now and take the extra time so that you don't have to do it later. I can tell you about the payment plans I offer that allow you to pay in installments. And I can tell you about the importance of unfucking your biz at any stage. But you've been listening to me talk about Unfuck Your Biz for way too long. So today I'm turning the mic over to a few of my students who have gone through the Unfuck Your Biz program and have gotten themselves out of different sticky situations and have gotten themselves set up for success. A course is only really as good as the results it gets its students, right? I know I've taken some courses where I didn't really get the results that I wanted. You've probably done the same. We do not want that. And the doors are closing to Unfuck Your Biz this week. So end of day Friday, doors will be closing. You will not be able to get into the program potentially for another full year. Still TBD on when it will be opening again. So if you're on the fence, I'm going to let my students take it from here. Thank you to photographer Emily Lepka, marketing expert Karen Escobar, wedding planner Susan Birnbaum, virtual assistant and content coach Connie Hurlbert, and dietitian Jen Draper.
Yeah, I know for a lot of people, like chat systems are probably a totally foreign concept. They've probably received chat messages before, not really realizing that it is. So let's maybe do like a little bit of a hypothetical on how this would work. So Gabby's still actively running, you're still actively running your wedding planning business, right? Okay, so Gabby has, Brenda is inquiring with Gabby as a potential client and goes on Gabby's website. When would like a chat system automate? Would it be like as soon as she lands on the website, like after she fills out an intake form? Like when would you use this?
Yeah, and I'll be very brief with this because it could be in a whole other episode. But right away, to what you said, Braden. So as soon as, let's pretend that Brenda, hey, she's interested in learning more about Pinterest. Maybe not sure if she wants to learn it herself, but maybe get somebody to help her out with that. So also, she may have never heard of Gabby's business before. Maybe she found it maybe through Pinterest or SEO or so. So she lands and right away, there's a little chat widget in the lower right-hand corner, pops up, connected to Messenger, just asking like, hey, any questions you have, or even if it's something down to what type of service you're interested. So that's one way the chat system's all automated. So Gabby does not have to be in front of a computer or even a VA trying to respond back within seconds. So Brenda pushes a button, now becomes basically a lead or a subscriber on Gabby's end without her having to do a single thing. So that's one way. Another thing would be maybe on the contact page. So maybe they fill out the contact form or they don't, but there could be a link. They click on that link, immediately become a lead that way as well. So there's lots of ways to use this. Even like on Pinterest, maybe there's a link directly to the messenger system. So it's almost like very seamless. There's no need to type a lot of stuff out to become a lead. So that's what makes this really, exciting, but also almost, I don't want to say no brainer, but kind of like just having this set up, you should be getting a few more leads just naturally because people are looking us up and want to probably connect with us.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested on integrating this into my website because right now I have some call to actions that are just like DM me on Instagram if you have questions. Because sometimes, like, I'm trying to sell digital products, right? So, and then you can't answer every question on an FAQ, right? And even if you could, like, are people actually going to read them? So sometimes it's easier just to be like, watch your question. And really, it's just, it's at that point, it's like an invitation to let me like sell you something if we can make sure it's a right fit. So, like the opportunities there are pretty awesome, and that's a really cool area that I haven't really heard anyone else talking about.
All the tax stuff, and then some of just like the upkeep for, my LLC. When I first started my business, I just did it through LegalZoom, but I felt like that was something where, I just paid them. I told them I needed an LLC. They sent me some papers and it was like, okay, I have an LLC, but I didn't really understand the process behind that, or what it meant, what options were as like my business grew. And I didn't want to keep on just paying LegalZoom to maybe like upkeep things. And then at one point, I know we talked about it very early on, I moved and I was like, how do I update my address with like the IRS and with the state of California? And that was another thing that I could not figure out. That was another Google rabbit hole.
But that's done now, right?
That's done now, thanks to you. It was
because you did your statement information to update your address with the state of California, $20 application fee.
Yes, it was so easy, but it's really having someone to explain that to you just makes all the difference. Like once you and I went over it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I stressed out about this, spent like 3 hours trying to figure it out on my own. And it was just so much easier once you explained it to me.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to know where to go, basically. Yeah. Okay, so did you start your LLC before you started monetizing your business?
Yes.
Okay, why is that? Why did you decide to do that?
I just felt like I wanted, first of all, like this clear separation of like, this is my business, and it's separate from me. I also felt it might make things easier because I am still working full time. And so I kind of wanted to have those clear lines of like income. And lastly, I think just for me, from a mental standpoint, filing that LLC was for me saying, this is a real business. I'm going all in. I'm going to put in the work and I'm going to build a business. This is not a hobby. This is not something I'm going to do for my friends and family when I have time. Like, this is legit.
Not a boot camp, but the reason why I actually bought the course was it might have been through your email list, that you were doing a master class, and probably basically as part of your launch. And I took that master class. At the beginning, I was like, there's no way I'm buying anything else from this guy. But by the end of that master class, I was like, I have got to do this because I have no idea what I'm doing to set this up. And I really did not want to suffer the consequences of back taxes and not filing a proper LLC. And now that I'm like finishing up my contracts or in the middle of doing my contracts, I'm so grateful for the contract that I've gotten through this, because I know what some of my friends' contracts look like, and they are nothing compared to this thing, honestly.
Honestly, sometimes I think I need to do a much better job about promoting my contracts, because I always roll my eyes so hard when people are like, oh, I need to promote more, people like need my programs. But it's like, sometimes that actually is true. And with the contracts, I think it definitely is true. Like, I should promote those more. But if you all are listening to this and you want to get your hands on some contracts, shoot me a message, because the templates are pretty bomb.com, I think.
Yeah. And like, I feel like I could update it and change it. I mean, still with you give out updates, but I feel empowered to be able to do all this stuff, like with a little guidance, but mainly be able to do it now.
That's the goal. This is why some of the things I do make my programs not the easiest to sell. And one of those examples is the build your own contract formula that I use. Because a lot of people are like, Braden, I don't want to build my own contract. That sounds terrible. But the idea is I call it the Build-A-Bear, but with contracts. The idea is you want to know how all of the bits and pieces work. So if you need to like create an elopement contract, you can tweak it. If you want to start taking retainers or monthly payments, you know how to do all of that without having bought one template and feeling like now you have to go spend $300, $500 on a different template. You just get all of it from the get-go.
I find it invaluable to have like a personal connection and be able to ask questions and have a response that, even though it's not like specific to me, I can like, obviously I trust you that your response is legally correct. And when you're not sure, you tell us that. Or when you're like, okay, well, I'm not a intellectual property attorney, but here's the general rule, like being able to have somebody who can answer the questions and not send me a bill is pretty valuable.
Not send you like 5 minutes to respond to this email. That's $75.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned. So I feel like I do that a lot in the course. I'm like, well, I don't really know, but I used to feel really insecure about that, especially when I was newer in my business. I think that we all do that, right? Like we think that we have to have the answer for everything.
Yeah.
At some point we learn, like you can only learn and retain so much information. Like, do you want to go really broad, but not very deep? Or do you want to go very deep and not very broad? I've done a little bit of a combination, right? Because the course is broad in the context that we cover both law and tax. I don't know any other programs that do that.
That's another reason that because some of the questions that I had, I was like, I don't know if this is a legal question or if this is a tax question, or I don't even know who to, like so both of my parents own their own businesses, and there were a couple of questions that I asked them, and their response was, oh, we'll send an email to their CPA. And I was like, okay, but I don't know that this is actually a CPA question. And what I've learned is a lot of times questions get answered by CPAs or bookkeepers that really aren't.
Yeah, because a lot of the time it's both a legal and a tax question, and a legal professional and a tax professional are going to give you contradictory answers.
Right. And I feel like with you, I'm getting not necessarily one or the other, but I'm getting the response that is going to best serve me. And sometimes that's, hey, reach out to your CPA. Or
it's kind of like the best analogy I could give is if you talk to like a marketing expert, or if you talk to like a Pinterest expert, the Pinterest person is going to tell you, like, of course your business needs to be on Pinterest. And the TikTok expert is going to tell you, of course your business needs to be on TikTok. Go down the line, right? But if you have a business coach, they're going to say, well, all those things are great, but let's also prioritize your time. So what's going to make the most impact? So those two professionals are going to give you contradictory information. It doesn't necessarily mean that one of them is wrong. It just means that there are competing issues here. And that's how it works with law and tax oftentimes.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like anybody ever is going to give you their best answer within their own context and experience, which isn't necessarily the answer that's going to best serve you. And I felt like, I mean, before I even took the course, the reason I signed up is going through that master class. I was like, okay, I can tell he can answer all of the questions I know I have. And there are probably some questions that I don't even know I need to ask. And I'm probably going to figure out what they are if I take this course. So
I would encourage them to prioritize it. Because if they're interested, it means that they are struggling. Like they need, like they started their business and they didn't have all the support. And so even if they're super busy, I'm thinking of the clients you have that are like all the wedding people, like it's wedding season, all that stuff that gets so busy in the spring. If they didn't do it, like nothing will change for their finances. And it's one of those things, it's like, that dark thing in the back of the closet. You're like, I don't want to look at it, but every time I look at the closet, I know it's back there and I'm stressed out. So just like prioritizing it because it's not going to go away. And Braden, you make it really fun.
it's not just like that you make it not painful, you actually make it fun. And then I'm like, ha 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 ha, I didn't file 2017. Like, I can normalize that and be okay and not be like so worried. So I think just recognizing that you are short on time, but it's like the investment of prioritizing it will, the reward on the investment will be huge.
Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed all of that information from various students and graduates at Unfuck Your Biz. If you have any more questions about the course that were answered on this episode, send me a DM on Instagram at Braden Adam Drake, or ask them in my free Facebook group, Braden's Besties. Remember, doors close this week, so head over to the website to sign up today, share the episode with all of your business owner friends, and I hope to see you inside of Unfuck Your Biz. Have a good one.
Hey there, before you go, I wanted to give a quick thanks. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. If you loved it, I would love for you to take a screenshot of the episode or snap a quick selfie while you are listening. Share it on social and give me a tag. It'll help other kick-ass entrepreneurs like yourself find the show. That's it for today. I'll be back soon with a new episode. Meanwhile, let's roll up our sleeves and unfuck that biz.